Ladies and lads, what's going on? Spag here. Hope you guys are all doing well. Finally back with a new video. I was in Malaysia for a couple of weeks for a couple of tournaments there. And, just to learn about the community in Southeast Asia. Learn as much as I could about the culture, the Tekken scene. Just for myself as a commentator, it's always good to travel to different places. Meet the community and do these kind of things because it helps with the knowledge. Now if I commentate an event and there are some Malaysian players, maybe some guys from Indonesia, then I'll be in a much better position to be able to tell their stories and to be able to provide context about the way that they play. And I'm just very grateful that I had that experience, man. So big shout outs to everyone in Malaysia, man. I hope to return for sure. However, I returned to the UK to a conversation online on the state of Tekken 8, and boy, people are not happy. Now, Tekken 8's obviously been a very polarizing game from the very beginning. On one hand, it really favors people who like to assert 50-50s and be aggressive, as there were characters in Tekken 7 and even before that really excelled in that type of gameplay. Think about Anna Williams, right? I mean, very, very strong 50-50s, and you could be super aggressive with her stances as well, and mix up heavy. Some characters were just very, very good at that type of thing, and that was one of the things that gave Anna her identity. One of her identities is that very strong 50-50 gameplay, right? As just one example. But on the other hand, you had people who liked to rely on their defense, play defensively, and I feel like it's those people that kind of lost out a little bit. The loss of various counter hit tools and the loss of your ability to even be able to block safely without taking damage. Think about chip damage, right? I mean, now in this game, in Tekken 8, you can block and, if you keep on blocking certain moves, you're going to keep on taking damage, and you don't want to do that. So it encourages the player, it's trying to tell the player that you can't just be too passive. And look, I've played against Knee. I've played against some of these guys that are really defensive, and one thing that's really cool about their gameplay that I found really cool is that you can go for your pressure, you can go for your Dragon of Running 2s or your other moves, right? That now deal chip damage. Before, they would just be happy to block it and wait for their opening. You can't really wait too much anymore, right? So it's been a big change for those type of players in Tekken 8. And they've had to make an adaptation, and to be honest, it's been kind of difficult for these players to make that adaptation. Of course, Knee's now doing really, really well. He's killing it in Korea. Had an amazing performance at Tiger Uppercut as well. I mean, he's one of the greatest of all time, man. So, of course, he's going to eventually adapt, right? But still, it is difficult for them to adapt to. However, there are other pro players who have been very, very successful in this game. They've been winning everything, but they're still not happy. So what have these players been saying? So let's have a look at what Arslan said in his tweet. So he said, "The state of Tekken is extremely volatile right now. The more I play the game, the more depressed I become. It feels like the game has devolved into a single launcher, followed by a 50-50, and that's it. The game needs systematic changes more than balance changes, in my opinion." Kokoma replied, "This is what I talked about every time. The company said 8 will be easy for noob and hard for pro players, but reality is everyone paid $80 for gambling game whole time. Noob, middle, high tier, all player feel same and talk same. What game is unpleasant because we are only doing gambling the whole time. That's why we don't want to play for a long time. I don't think heat system is problem. Real problem is all characters moveset, all for just 50-50, 50-50, 50-50, 50-50. Shibai, tired for doing 50-50 whole time." Even pro player as me think like this. Then what about real noob and middle players? I can't guess how they feel tired about Tekken 8 style. In here, Twitter community is also same, I guess. Share and show your guys' opinions. PS, even Tekken World Tour Finals rules is perfect for 50-50. We are all in Las Vegas first floor. And then finally, Ulsan chimed in with some comments as well, saying, "Tekken 8 is officially aggressive game. Why some characters have too strong defensive options and make game can't play aggressive and just and do endless backdash and wait. Something weird." Right. So these are the comments that three of the best players in the world, three players by the way, who have won majors already this year. Yeah, of course, Arslan winning multiple majors, including Evo, the big one. Kokoma winning the Dubai Master event. I think he won some more as well. And then Ulsan, of course. I mean, he won on a 5 tournament win streak. Even my tournament, the Red Bull Golden Letters, he managed to win that one as well. He won EWC. So these guys are not complaining because they're salty. They're not complaining because they're not winning. They are winning. But when I spoke to Kokoma, actually, one time he was streaming, and I said, "Yo, what's up, man? How you doing?" And he goes, "I'm playing this game, but I can't keep playing it. Like, you can't play it for long periods because the mental stack, the amount of 50-50s I'm being put in, the amount of times I'm having to guess, it's stressful and it's hard to play for long periods. And I kind of understand what he's saying. Now, let's start with Arslan's tweet actually. So Arslan said, you know, the game's really volatile and is devolved into a single launcher into a 50-50 mix-up. And a lot of people have asked me, I've been streaming, and a lot of people have been asking me, what do you think of his comments? I think I know what Arslan's saying, I know where he's coming from. And I don't think that his tweet explains fully what he believes about the game, because I've spoken to him as well. But the single launcher into a 50-50, that actually also existed in a way in Tekken 7, in my opinion. I think that kind of gameplay at Season 3 also existed in Tekken 7, because I don't know if you guys remember in Tekken 7 Season 3, they added in strings into the game, which you could use at the wall, where you can get easy wall carry. There were tons of counter hit launches in that game, so if you got hit once, got taken to the wall. For a great example is Jin's laser scraper extension. They actually changed they gave an extension to the laser scraper which flipped you over. Still exists in Tekken 8 now, and it was max damage as well as giving you the best Oki. So with Jin, you can go to the wall, big flip over, and then you could say that it was a 50-50 and you're pretty much dead, right? But yeah, that definitely exists in this game too. Now let's not even talk about a top 5 character, because my top 5 clearly is I'll say clearly, my top 5 is Dragunov, Nina, Yoshimitsu, Elisa, and Jin, right? But you could put Shaheen in there, you could put Jin in, you know, Law. Like, there's a lot of characters that could be in that top 5. Brian's really good too. But let's not even talk about one of those characters. Let's talk about Kuma. Kuma has also been a character that's been winning tournaments. Rangchu won a big tournament recently in Korea. And what is that character about? Well, Kuma, because of his heat system, his heat is so much better than Panda's. The Panda's, like you'd say, lower tier, much lower tier than Kuma. And Kuma has so much damage as well. So let's say one launcher, you get taken to the wall, massive wall combo, and after that wall combo, he gets Okizemi, he gets an Oki. Now, if you're able to do the roll mix-up afterwards, you're actually guessing for your life. If you duck, you're going to be wall splattered again into a huge combo and you're dead. If you don't duck and you get hit by the guard break, you're also dead. So the game there are situations where a single launcher into 50-50 can kill you. And I don't know what you guys at home feel about that, but I guess, you know, from Arslan's perspective, he doesn't want to be guessing for his life after getting hit by one launcher, you know. And I understand that for sure. I definitely understand that. But he also goes on to say that the game needs systematic changes more than balance changes. But I actually think that it's a balance thing. I don't think it's a system thing. Let's talk about this. So, for example, let's take Kuma again as an example, and we'll take Feng Wei. Now, I asked this to my stream yesterday, and I said, which character has the better heat? Kuma clearly has the better heat than Feng. He has a 13 frame high evasion heat smash, not high crushing, but has some evasion. He has the guard break mix up. He has the electric, the charge electric. He's clearly way better with heat. But Feng is the overall better character because of the overall tool set, right? So Feng's a better character, but Kuma has a better heat. So I don't think that the heat system is the issue. I think it's the utilization of the heat that certain characters possess. So for example, what I'm trying to say is, if you just nerf how Kuma uses heat, then heat becomes less of a problem. Same with Nina. Nina and Elisa, these characters deal insane chip damage. They have insane pressure with heat. And if you just nerf the way that nerf their enhanced moves, nerf how much chip damage they do, then the heat system overall becomes less oppressive. And I think that's what it is. I don't think the game needs a systematic change. I think it needs more balance change, if anything. But Kokoma talks about the same thing as well. Like, he talks about how, and he's been talking about this, to be fair, from the very, very beginning. And he's an aggressive player, and you can ask Kokoma, you can talk to him, and he'll tell you, yes, he characterizes himself as an aggressive player. If you ever watched his Feng in Tekken 7, you would know probably the most aggressive Feng player that we saw on the pro high level, compared to other Fengs like Ni and Joker and these guys, right? So he just talks about the 50-50 aspect of it. He says, and he said to me before, aggression, if they want an aggressive game, then make an aggressive game. But what seems to have happened now is that they're conflating aggression with 50-50s. It's not the same thing. And I get what he's saying, you know, because the mental stack of just guessing all the time can be very, very difficult. And some characters really do that to you. They make you guess so often. Not every character, but a lot of characters do. So as you can say, he was a very, very emotional guy. He's an emotive guy, funny guy. You know, I love Kokoma. But, you know, the way he finished saying that we're all in Las Vegas first floor, I mean, he really, really isn't happy, right? And then Ulsan actually brings up a different point. Ulsan brings up a different point, saying that Tekken is officially an aggressive game, which is him saying that, you know, Tekken is supposed to be an aggressive game, which is fine. You know, he's an aggressive player. He plays aggression better than anyone. You know, him and Artif. Name me some players that are better than them guys at them two at the aggressive game. It's hard to find someone. But he says, why do some characters have really strong defensive options though, where you can't play aggressive against them? A good example is Asuka Kazama, maybe, you know, with her Sabakis and her parries that you can't chicken anymore. Leroy, even though Leroy is not that strong, I still think Leroy has some play in this meta because of the Sabakis and parry element of the character, right? And I think the biggest villain of this tweet has to be Yoshimitsu. You cannot play the game the way that it's supposed to be played against Yoshimitsu. Not only does he have some of the best combos in the game, some of the best pokes and damage and he's a very complete character, but he also has the best defensive options too. The flash really makes you not want to like play too aggressive. No, flash into back 2-2 heat engager, which in heat actually gives you a full combo. No sword stance flash is a launcher anyway. But then you got the spin, and they nerfed spin recently by making it take more damage. But the spin is just it's so fundamentally anti-Tekken 8. How many times have we seen? And I can show you the amount of times that spin has just gone around a heat smash or gone around some certain things, and you can even just go for a single spin, and that's enough sometimes to just make most of the moves in a game with. And it also beats some homing moves, and we saw recently at the EGX tournament that I commentated last weekend, Gosen actually won the tournament with Law, but we saw when he played against Kane and Trench that he went for Law's back 4, which is a 14 frame homing move, and the Yoshi spin it went around it. It beat the homing move, because not only does it move sideways, it moves backwards as well. So Ulsan also has a problem, but his problem isn't systematic, it's character balance wise again, because he's talking about how characters have, you know, too many strong defensive options, which also I definitely understand and agree with. So what's the solution in this scenario? What do we do about the situation that we're in right now? Well, actually, a lot of people have been talking about Tekken 7. There's been a big conversation about Tekken 7 and comparing it to Tekken 8. And again, it's been a very polarizing thing. So Tekken 7, of course, people didn't like it. People loved it in many ways. I loved it. I still think Tekken 7 one of the best fighting games that I played, and it's amazing to watch. Tekken 7, like Tasty Steve says, always delivered no matter what. You know, any tournament, amazing to watch. And sometimes there is that recency bias, man. I mean, we're playing a new game now. People have kind of forgotten how sick Tekken 7 was. But there has been a bit of a conversation about, okay, Tekken 7, it was just backdash, and just wait. It kind of wasn't, man. I mean, yeah, in some scenarios it was. Like, you know, you get Infinite Stage, Zafina, and Kunimitsu. Part of that was also down to the fact that the Tekken World Tour at that time allowed you to pick the stage as well, which was, you know, I was for years calling out that was the wrong thing to do, and they have changed it now. But, you know, it's interesting because people who are new to fighting games, they really do like Tekken 8 in many ways. And looking at this tweet here by SK, who's an Overwatch player, says, I gotta say, as someone new to fighting games and who is only Bushin in Tekken but loves watching it, this is so much more boring to watch than anything I've seen in Tekken 8. Now, what was SK referring to? Which match? SK was referring to the Neve versus JDCR matchup at Rev Major, which is widely considered to be one of the greatest sets of all time, because it really did show solid defensive play and a bunch of other things as well. Just really two guys at their peak, or I don't know if at their peak, but two guys playing at a very high level, playing against each other in a very close match. And there was obviously a big rivalry between those guys as well. JDCR and obviously big rivalry. So this is someone saying that I feel that is so much more boring to watch than anything I've seen in Tekken 8. I mean, she clearly doesn't like watching Tekken 7. If you don't like that set, then you're not going to like many sets of Tekken 7, right? So, yeah, Tekken 8 definitely has been very popular with the new people. So it's difficult to find what you got to do in this situation to make the newer players happy, as well as the pro players. But I still think that Tekken 7 was super fun to watch as well. I think it was. I think, you know, give it a chance for somebody. If somebody's new players that never watched it before, if you give it a chance, honestly, you would still really love it. And many people that watched Evo, I was at Evo for Tekken 7 and a couple of times, and you know, there was a lot of new players that never watched it, and they loved it. And sometimes it's about the storyline too, man. Like NA versus EU, you know, one of the best exhibitions of all time in Tekken, right? And I'm happy that I was able to be able to organize that and get that to happen. And we'll do it again. We'll do it again for sure in Tekken 8. But I had people coming up to me saying, Spag, that's the best thing I've ever seen. And there were comments in the YouTube video saying, I don't even watch Tekken, but this was hype as hell, you know? Because the storyline really helped to bolster up that exhibition. And Tekken is very easy to follow. So I understand, but going back to what the pros were saying, I mean, what do I think? I think it's not a systematic change that needs to happen. It's more of a balance change. And we have to have a very, very big conversation about that balance, you know. Maybe reducing the 50-50s to, you know, like Komo was saying, too many 50-50s. Arslan also touched upon that. But also looking at what Ulsan said, which I think is a very, very important point, which is that some characters still have these very, very strong defensive tools, as well as having new aggressive tools, which makes it so difficult to play Tekken 8 against those characters. Yoshimitsu is the biggest culprit there, and I'm hoping that Yoshimitsu is going to get nerfed like crazy. Hopefully he'll get nerfed like crazy. But yeah, I'm very interested to know what you guys think here as well about what the pros have been saying, and what's your guys' opinion, man? What do you want to see happen to Tekken 8, you know, when the new patch comes out for Season 2? I mean, what are you guys looking for? Are you looking for a system change? Are you looking for a balance change? And if it's a balance change, what do you want change? I mean, which characters are on the top of your list to get changed? And if it's a system thing, then let me know what you guys have. I'm down. Oh, I read every comment. Just let me know what system changes you guys would employ if you were, you know, a decision maker at Namco. But either way, that's going to be it for this video. Thank you very much for watching, and I will catch you guys next time. Take care. Peace.